You're listening to Big World Network.
Accidental Passion, Episode 6, Comfort. Warning: although there is no material subject matter within that couldn't be found in any general bookstore with no age constraint, this series is rated 18 and contains adult situations and content. It is intended for mature audiences only and should not be read if you are uncomfortable with graphic sexual intimacy. The last hour had been a blurry mix of images and sounds for Alicia. She vaguely remembered lights flashing all around her in blues and reds, voices yelling, and a fireman crawling in the car with a power saw to cut the metal pinning her leg. It wasn't until she had been rolled into the emergency room that the images began to make sense. They had taken her by ambulance, although she couldn't remember much about the ride, but she remembered the pain as they pulled the gurney out of the back of the ambulance and jarred her leg, which was in a splint of some sort. From that point on, her world was a visual of what was directly above her, ceilings and faces looking down at her, and bright lights sending starbursts of pain into her skull. "I'm Mary," she heard a voice say. Opening her eyes and squinting from the bright light over her, Alicia was able to make out the face of a very attractive nurse, or at least, she assumed the woman was a nurse. "I'm going to give you something a little stronger for the pain. It's morphine and will go right into your IV, so no shot." She gave Alicia a warm smile. "Thank you," Alicia managed gratefully. As Mary continued to work around her and the morphine started to ease some of the pain in her leg, Alicia began to shiver less and feel a little less scared. Mary was so comforting, putting a hand on her shoulder from time to time, talking to her, and letting her know what was going on in the trauma room around her. When they wheeled her off for an x-ray of her leg, Mary came with her, pushing the gurney down the hall. It didn't take long for Alicia to feel comfortable with the nurse, and to feel a fair amount of dependence on her. Kevin came up from the basement where Kim was in the kitchen making dinner. "Alicia was in a car accident going home from the office tonight," he said dispassionately. "It looks like she's going to need surgery on her leg, but we'll be okay. We should go to the hospital." "Of course," Kim answered, wrapping up the sirloin she had been preparing to broil. Within 20 minutes, they found themselves at the ER and back in the exam room with Alicia. A cute nurse in her late 20s with dark hair was moving about her patient when Kim and Kevin came into the room. It was clear to Kim that Alicia was in a fair amount of pain, but well drugged. What wasn't clear to her was why Kevin started asking Alicia very pointed questions about why and how the accident happened. "What does it matter how it happened?" Kim finally interjected. "Are you being charged with anything?" Kevin asked, ignoring Kim. Alicia looked at him with disgust on her face. He sure didn't seem concerned about her, that Kim could easily tell. "No, I don't think so," Alicia said. "I didn't do anything wrong. The truck pulled out in front of me." She clearly wanted them to be gone. Mary came to the rescue. "You both should go. I need to start prepping her for surgery. The orthopedic surgeon will be here soon." They said their goodbyes, and Kim almost missed the subtle squeeze Kevin gave Alicia's hand. It should have surprised her, but it didn't. What did surprise her was Alicia's reaction, pulling her hand away from him and back to her body. The action was also noticed by Mary, as she prepared to disconnect Alicia's fluid bag in preparation for transport. Alicia was glad when they left the room. Even with all the morphine, she felt uncomfortable around both of them. She turned to Mary. "Thank you." "No problem. We really do need to get you prepped for surgery." She smiled at Alicia, giving her even more comfort. "I need to cut your scrubs off and get you in a gown. I'm not going to be able to pull them down over the splint." She grabbed a sheet and some scissors from a supply drawer. Covering Alicia with the sheet, Mary was offering her at least some measure of privacy, since she was about to remove her of her clothing. They chatted the entire time, Mary helping keep Alicia relaxed while beginning to cut her pant leg all the way up to the top of her scrubs. Mary then very gently brought the fabric under Alicia's broken leg and used her hands under Alicia's bottom to push them out from under her. She pulled them down, over, and off Alicia's good leg, leaving Alicia in a pair of pink lace panties beneath the sheet. "Those will have to go too. Sorry," Mary said. "It's okay. $15 and there hasn't been anyone worth appreciating them yet," Alicia joked. "Well, I appreciate them, and it sure beats being caught in the ER in a pair of granny panties. They both giggled as Mary cut the panties on the side, pulling the top to Alicia's good leg and again feeding the fabric under Alicia's bottom with her fingers. When she had them removed, she situated the sheet better over Alicia's hips so she wasn't so exposed. Even with the broken leg, it crossed Alicia's thoughts that she was thankful she had just shaved, completely, with nothing left behind. Despite the pain, and maybe it was the morphine, Alicia felt comforted and even a little bit sensual from Mary's touch. It was strange to be in someone else's care and dependent on them, especially another woman, especially one so petite and feminine. After her scrub top and bra were removed, Mary put a gown over the top of her head and tied it behind her neck. A phone on the wall rang and Mary answered. After a moment, she hung it back up. "Well, they are ready for you in surgery, Alicia." She smiled warmly at her. Alicia felt her heart instantly race. Mary moved beside her, saying, "It's going to be fine. In another 2 hours you will be in a room recovering, your leg fixed." She put her hand on Alicia's shoulder and gently ran it all the way down the length of her arm to her hand, which she held in hers. Alicia felt comforted, but found her heart racing for another reason now. Mary didn't just hold her hand and give it a squeeze, but continued to hold it in hers, one of her fingers gently stroking the back of Alicia's hand. Alicia knew it must be the morphine making her feel this way. "Will I see you again?" Alicia asked, looking into Mary's eyes, trying to not sound too eager. She really hoped she would, if just to be able to thank her for her treatment in the ER. "I will check on you after my shift," Mary answered, still holding her hand, and not letting go until 2 orderlies came into the room to wheel Alicia away. "It will be okay," she said, giving Alicia's hand one final squeeze and smiling confidently. Alicia had a feeling that Mary was right. Everything would be okay. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath as the orderlies wheeled her out of the room.
This has been a presentation of Big World Network. Visit us on BigWorldNetwork.com for more free weekly series, or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Big World Network.